Welcome to Ads and Tales, the podcast where we explore tales from the world of B2B ads. This is your host Sid, and I will bring you the insights, experiences, and strategies from those who have been in the trenches to help you excel in your marketing efforts. So sit back, relax, and join us for some great tales from the world of B2B ads. This is Ads and Tales.
And obviously while keeping in mind that it is not like uh, it does not become like a task to them, to sales or to customer ops or to anyone. It's just a follow up or the check or how can I help kind of something. So that really helps because obviously sales cycle will have many blockers, and events can only activate conversation. They cannot produce results. You'll have to depend upon sales team as well as like customer success teams and any team that is involved to create results. And how can you influence that? Just by taking follow-ups and just by helping out wherever possible.
I'll make this the tagline of the show. Events can only activate conversations, not create conversions. I don't think a lot of founders realize that, or even CMOs to an extent. But it is a
Yeah.
very valid observation and a very valid belief. And if that is the belief that goes around in your organization, I think that is a really advanced level of marketing activations that you guys are doing. So congratulations on that. And you've already moved me to the next part of my conversation where you said that parts of event, pre-event, post-event, during the event. So I'm now moving to during the event before I get into post. That 11 usually has a unique significance in our culture, and therefore I thought it is time that we should have something that we haven't yet talked about on Ads and Tales. And therefore I picked something called events, which are good friends of B2B marketers, but sometimes don't get as much attention as the glamorous worlds of digital marketing. So, and therefore I wanted to have someone who's had a lot of experience with events, who knows the nitty gritties, who knows the details that you and I don't know. And therefore Tanmay was kind enough to grace the show. Hi Tanmay, and thank you for coming over at Ads and Tales.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Sid. It's a great pleasure. Like now events are actually getting in the forefront, and I'm also liking the attention. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So Tanmay has been leading events for Ad Pushup now, I believe, across the globe, and leading
Hmm.
that function with aplomb. And let's see what he has in store for us. So Tanmay, let's get started on the podcast front, and I'll start throwing my arrows of questions towards you. But I still want to get started towards how you came into Ad Pushup and started leading events. I've seen your journey, being an entrepreneur first, uh, doing a lot of stuff, then entering Ad Pushup, and then finding your way into events, and now leading it very well from what I hear. So how has this journey been, and what drove you into coming into events?
So thanks for that question. So like my journey has been like a roller coaster, and it has never been like a ladder, right? I personally usually takes a step down just to follow my interest because I don't think like journeys or career journeys should be ladders because they are at the end life journeys, right? So I started working as an entrepreneur like because I come from a service background and I've always been aspirational for like a better life, and I thought that entrepreneurship can get me there. And but COVID come into the picture, and my setup was actually invalid, and I had to look for other options. So Ad Pushup came along after almost like 150 different interviews in the span of 3 months, and I decided on Ad Pushup because I was looking for an early stage startup. Later realized it was not an early stage startup,
Hmm.
but mainly sales was where I had my experience in, and sales is where I wanted to build my career in. So that is what I took up. But later I realized that I love people facing roles, and sales, pre-sales mainly, is not so people facing as it is like a digital outreach. So that is when I shifted my focus towards marketing and doing like a one to many reach outs, and that is where an opportunity came along for events, and I just said yes. Now here we are actually scaling it day by day, in different part of the world, in Chicago, in Spain, in recently in Turkey, in Delhi, Bangalore, Kuala Lumpur, Thailand, doing it everywhere over the globe, just scaling it in basis of numbers, in terms of formats, in terms of people, and in general. So that's it.
Awesome. And since you've just mentioned scale and the formats, I will dive into that part of the events as a follow up
Mm-hmm,
question for you. So now that you're in events, you're planning it, strategizing it, executing it.
mm-hmm,
But how do you get to decide the scale? That is one, or
mm-hmm,
the format of the event. So it could be a mix up, or it could be a trade show where you just hosting a booth.
mm-hmm.
How do you decide those things before even the planning stage comes in for the events?
Got it. So thanks for the question. The basic, I guess, roadmap for planning an event usually consists of starting off from the pipeline, the funnel pipeline, right? Obviously, for to make a successful event, we must have an ROI, right? So, as in marketing professional, branding is obviously always in mind, but mainly creating that funnel is something that I focus on because I come from sales, right? So I first of all look at the current funnel. That gives me an idea which area to be actually, or which region to be targeted upon, and also the type of accounts or the scale the event should be, right? If let's suppose the accounts are like mainly a smaller account, let's say for us, right, then I can have a bigger event with more people. If the accounts is basically like a bigger account, then I'll focus on a smaller event wherein more attention can be given to those people, where more attention can be given to those people, right? So high value people. So that's basically it. So either you focus on masses or either you focus on classes. So that is need to be decided upon looking at a current funnel or the aspirational funnel that we want to enter into this quarter, into break into this market or something like that. So for me, scale of an event is something of driven from ROI. Just to summarize, and if the ROI you are expecting has to be great, then you need to find out an area where you can take that higher risk and create that better ROI. That's it.
Nice.
Hope that
And
answers, or if anything is unsaid, then I can repeat that.
no, 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 no. I think it
Mm-hmm,
answers it perfectly because even I believe
mm-hmm,
you have to drop the gray area sometimes. You either go
mm-hmm,
massy or you either go classy, as you said. A lot of
mm-hmm,
brands that I have also worked with and experienced are somewhere in the middle because they remain
mm-hmm,
undecided on what to do. They want to do
mm-hmm,
this also, but they don't want to let go of the
mm-hmm.
other part, and therefore, I came up with this question for you. But picking on your answer on pipeline front, so because you mentioned pipeline, there is no way I will not bring sales into it. And
Yeah.
you're good friends from the
Mm-hmm,
sales side. But it is, I've genuinely felt that it is very important for sales to be actively involved as far as events are concerned. And because you mentioned pipeline, how active is the sales involvement for you guys? And and your events planning, is it a part of your annual GTM or do you do quarter on quarter? How do you plan this?
Great question. I'll give an answer, then I'll also share an insight that actually worked for us. And I think anyone can learn from that and make it work for themselves. So the answer is basically we work on a quarter to quarter basis, looking at the funnel. All right. So basically, I derive my data from sales funnel and then talk to sales and then decide on a common consensus based of many calculations. So when I'm talking about many calculation, it is not even like an average budget, right? We take even a participant level budget, conversion ratios, and cost of travel from which country. So for any European event, I would do a cost of calculation for like 50 countries at least, right?
Yes.
And also like stay and everything is standard, substandard wherever I would the region, the time taken to travel, and other than that also possibility of people saying yes, conversion rate from each region. So targeting has to be very, calculated front, right? And quarterly works best because the funnel keeps on changing on as per quarter. I would advise anyone listening to this to even do that more recent, like planning far ahead is always better for events, right? But at the same time, having a better ROI or having a better event will depend upon current activations already. So focusing on current activation where you can actually move them across the funnel would help you out the most. The insight that I want to share here, what works, like sales, how much involved sales is. So earlier we figured out something that rather than deciding on everything and then coming to sales that this is what we have decided to help you, if we include everyone, when I say everyone, I mean even the last guy in sales from starting in the decision making progress process, right? Then they have something of their own in the event and they think that it is their duty to make it successful rather than it is their forced upon work, right? And that actually create owners and people actually uh, promote your event for you rather than just work for your event.
That is
So
101 management principle from Peter Drucker. It is, I don't know how often it is told in management institutes or
mhm,
imbibed from CEOs downwards, but
mhm,
always it is off the mark. So it is great. My congratulations to you that you were able to do this. And one other thing you mentioned about the targeting being niche. So there is one uh, very
mhm,
very nice example that my ex boss used to give, and I'm really fond of him also.
mhm,
He used to say, when you are doing an event or when you're doing a marketing campaign, it is, think of it as a war zone. And when you're thinking of it as a war zone, you can either do carpet bombing or you can do
mhm,
sniper shooting.
mhm,
So he used to give me those examples. He said carpet bombing, if you have to do carpet bombing, then you are mass. You're inviting anyone and everyone and someone will turn up. Or you can sit on one window and sniper shoot. That will give you effective results too. And that is an example that has stuck with me till now. And it came to my mind as you were speaking about picking out the audiences and you have to
mhm.
push invites in those regards. So it just came into mind and I splurted it out. So thanks for
Before we
yeah, go on.
Yeah, before we move on to the next question,
Yeah.
so basically we do call our planning rooms war rooms only,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And in those regards, like carpet bombing and sniper shooting, I guess we do a bit of both, right? So basically, marketing does the carpet bombing, and sales does the sniper shooting, right? So that helps because marketing are more aligned to one-to-many approach,
Yes.
and sales are more aligned to one-to-one. We also figured out one more thing, right? That once your carpet bombing is there and you see like there's are indicators that these are interested or something like that, involving sales and doing that sniper shooting to them also bring in the best result.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's good that you picked up my terminology.
Yeah.
Okay, since we're already talking distribution of the event, that is what I wanted to touch up as the next part of the podcast. Is
Hmm.
getting in participants, getting in attendees, soliciting participants. However,
Hmm.
in different organizations it is tagged differently. So getting in
Hmm.
people into the event is usually a tricky task, especially for brands who are entering new markets. Sometimes even for brands who are there but need to get more people in. So how do you look at it, and how do you sometimes incentivize sales to get in participants for you? Because at end of the day, it will be your KPI too.
Yes. So to be very honest, I have many points regarding this. This is
Okay.
something we have worked like extensively on. So first point, right? So I go on it as a collaborative approach. I don't think of it as a sales led event or a marketing led event or even a customer success led event. So I create conversion rates across teams and then decide on a number, right? That I would want to get this many attendees from this team, this many from this team, and that is also like a very flexible number, right? These are not hard calls, right? So I let the attendees come in even at the last moment just to make the event better. All decisions are based on ROI, right? And how these people are actually motivated to work on these. First of all, from customer success, we don't just call all the customers, right? We see where is there is potential for upsell and cross sell from an ROI perspective, and this aligns with their targets, right? So every ROI metric aligns with every team's target, personally, and also for the people to be motivated. The ground level IC people to be motivated. We actually make it about travel, right? So for participation into an event, there's like a minimum criteria that you need to bring in these many people. Like then it would make sense for you to be a part of this event. And since we are doing global events and our team is local, this really works for us, especially in sales. Like so, that's there.
Awesome. And you've already gone into the so I'm loving how this is flowing from one topic to another because we're talking distribution, but budgeting has come in and it has given me a
Hmm.
cue to get into budgeting with you. That how do you get into the budgeting part of it, because that is where the ROI, because end of the year your CEO will ask, Tanmay, you've spent X $1,000, where is the ROI? So how
Yes.
do you actually plan the budgets for events, and you can link it with the scale as well. How do you decide that, okay, in this event I have to spend $5,000 versus in this event I will spend $75,000? How do you make that connection? And also, if you can touch upon what is the extent that you are willing to go for the participant. For example, as you said, in some European countries you might have to sponsor travel. That might not be the
Mhm.
case in India. So on the budgeting
Mhm.
front, how do you decide?
Thanks a lot for that question. It's also like something we've figured out. We don't discriminate in basis of countries, right? We only discriminate on basis of cost. So, cost of travel, let's say. So, if the cost of travel is, let's say, uh, in 4 months, I can make that of like the customer that I'm bringing in, if that becomes a customer, right? So then that's justified. So we usually do like a 1/4 thing, and 6 months, as because of the sales cycle and things like that, we
Hmm.
track our ROI on basis of almost 6 months, right? In
Okay.
6 months, how many people turned into customers, let's say, right? And just take their monthly returns, because lifetime value will be a lot more.
Yes.
But that is how we come to like a number that this is our budget for this event. So let's suppose we figured out that at least the event should have 15 number of people for to make it more interactive. Otherwise it's a small scale event and people would not talk, people would feel awkward and things like that, right? 15 attendees, not just the internal. And this is just for B2B SaaS mainly,
Hmm.
because we are
Correct.
talking to only CXOs and founders and decision makers, right? Not inviting multiple POCs from same company, because if you do that, these people will talk among themselves and then that will be a blocker, right? So that is something we figured out, and the number comes from a conversion ratio that works for us in past, and just taking that very lightly, we give 6 months time and just calculate the total pipeline that we are creating, and applying the conversion ratio, we get the number of the budget for the event, right? So for anyone out there, just to understand how to actually calculate ROI, the lifetime value will be too great, but work on monthly numbers. Consider your sales cycle for a better ROI expectation setting, right? That I will get these many customers in this much amount of time, and then just be very frugal about the conversion rate. Right? Don't be over optimistic. Be very pessimistic about the conversion rate, because if it goes up, best, if it goes down, then it is very bad. So we take, let's say, 10% conversion rate, while we have had events with 50-60% conversion as well,
Hmm.
right? So that's about it mainly.
Yeah, it is always good to exceed expectations. It is a problem when you go lower than the expectations, I think. But that is a really nice way to approach event ROI. That
Mm-hmm.
is what I feel, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end, I have seen many organizations worked with some, worked alongside some, who end
Mm-hmm.
of the year who've come back and said, what is the ROI of, you've done 15 events? What is the ROI? And the person doing the or leading the events usually has a gobbled up answer on it, because this, we
Mm-hmm.
met five people and he or she has
Mm-hmm.
become a pipeline and he will become a
Mm-hmm.
customer next year. Things like that have happened. I've seen firsthand. So it is a really nice and precise way to track how the efforts are aligning to the organization goal, which is revenues.
Got it. So, I want to add something to this as well.
Hmm.
So, coming from sales, making that lifelong commitment to that any person that your funnel includes, right? Even the person who said no, or even the person who dropped out at the last minute, or even the person who attended, even if he said no for our product, right? That is also very important. So, the conversion rate, the ROI would not work if you as a marketer, just have an event and be done with it, right? So if you keep on doing marketing activity, if you keep on helping sales, if you keep on asking sales, what next, right? Then also it happens. And obviously, while keeping in mind that it is not like, uh, it does not become like a task to them, to sales or to customer ops or to anyone. It's just a follow up or just check or how can I help kind of something. So that really helps because obviously sales cycle will have many blockers, and events can only activate conversations. They
Yes.
cannot produce results. You'll have to depend upon sales team as well as like customer success teams and any team that is involved to create results. And how can you influence that? Just by taking follow-ups and just by helping out wherever possible.
I'll make this the tagline of the show. Events can only activate conversations, not create conversions. I don't think a lot of founders realize that, or even CMOs to an extent. But it is a
Yeah.
very valid observation and a very valid belief. And if that is the belief that goes around in your organization, I think that is a really advanced level of marketing activations that you guys are doing. So congratulations on that. And you've already moved me to the next part of my conversation where you said that parts of event, pre-event, post-event, during the event. So I'm now moving to during the event before I get into post, that you have to engage with the prospect whether he says yes or no in different ways across the life cycle. So on the event, uh, it is the most talked about thing, but still not a lot of people know what to look for. So is there a checklist? Is there something that is in your head, or even in across the team, that you guys follow, some check marks that you do on the event? Probably reach 2 hours before the event gets flagged off. What are those few things that you keep in mind?
Great question. So basically, we do have a checklist, right? It's pretty long one, right? So basically, what works for us, like two things, if you want to prioritize, are your content, your flow, content of the event as well as flow. If it is a high level content and if it is a good conversation you're promising at your event, right, then everything will be smooth, right? And also follow ups and ownership. So obviously, like, no, somebody would be back in your city who actually put that person's name for the event and now is an event attendee. But who would be handling whom at the event, right? Who can take follow ups, who can remind, who can check if somebody is sleeping, who can check if bus is about to leave, right? That is very much important. Like assigning people as much as they can handle to have the conversations required at event, to make sure everyone is enjoying, to make sure everyone is a part of the event, right? That is very much important. Then there are like 100 different things, literally, right? We have written them down as well. So to take care of, like, getting there half an hour early is something we usually, keep in mind because our schedule is also very
Yes.
hectic. We usually have internal sync ups prior to any event, like 1 hour prior also, to just to be on the same page. One day prior as well. Every day we are having those sync ups. So basically, the idea is just go through the entire event checklist multiple times, 4 to 5 at least, right? And not just as the event team, but anyone involved with it, right? Obviously, we filter that out to at event POCs, like once the event is there, but post an event, weekly, twice, we sync up to just go through everyone, because what ends up happening that something that works for someone will work for someone else as well. Someone can actually give solutions for someone else as well, right? So that is there, basically collaboration.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree more. That for the time I was doing events for my when I was working. what we used to do
Mhm.
was assign roles, that you are the one who will be there at the meet and greet, you are the one who will
Mhm.
be escorting, let's say, a speaker who is coming in onto the stage.
Mhm.
So the roles
Mhm.
assigning we also used to do. You've just taken it maybe a level up from what I used to
Mhm.
do. So completely, so it again made me nostalgic to the times when I was handling events back in my job. But one other thing that again I have observed not a lot of brands make best use of is the prospects and customers who are coming in. How do you make sure that time is best utilized? I'll give you an example. What I used to do, or at least suggest when I was there, was at least take the CMO or anyone who's coming into the corner and record a testimonial. I mean, like, very selfish marketing stuff that I used to suggest. But
Mhm.
is there anything of that sort that you guys also do, or you guys suggest that could be utilized when the prospect or customer is already there with you at the event?
Yes, definitely. So any customer that is there, we love to record a customer testimonial, and for people present at the event, we love to record a video testimonial as well.
Hmm.
But at the same time, right, we keep in mind the mood of the person. We check with the person responsible for that person. Would asking them from marketing standpoint would create a blocker, or is he likely to say yes? So if
Hmm.
he's likely to say yes, then only we ask, because at the end the person responsible for that prospect or
Some.
customer,
Hmm.
he's the final decision maker for everything, right? Whether we want to, like, basically as simple as that, if that person is on a fast, like, so that person will take care that the any event team member would be informed that he's on a fast, right? And he need to have like the special diet, right? So anything like that. So just keeping in mind everything, who's responsible for who, and just checking with them before making that suggestion works
Hmm.
for us. And we obviously want to record, do the marketing things like
Yes.
testimonials, reviews, post event blogs as well. So we
Yes.
usually include people's quote in blogs as well, and we want our event to be content led, right? At least the
Yes.
conference part of it, right?
Yes.
So we love to ask people how was the session for you,
Hmm.
and record that, right? We would love to ask what were your thoughts upon the speaker, right? What were your thoughts upon this topic, right? So we want the content to be the king, because our customers are also prioritizing content over everything else, right? So
Yes.
this is something of a customer mindset that we were not, and also post pre just to make the content good. It's not a question that you've asked me, but
Hmm.
since I'm answering,
Yes.
just to make content good, we first of all warm up the room by opening up the room for everyone, just to ask them questions and have them opinionated. People get warmed up. Also, pre-event, we send like a form in which we ask what you would you like to discuss, and that's like a public open poll, so that people know, like, the room, what they would like to discuss. So let's suppose if somebody said I would like to discuss about X, and nobody else was there, he would not take a hit, I wanted to discuss about X. So, he would understand that the room was not such,
Yes.
right? So, and we can pivot according to the masses as well, like, the most likely thing we like to discuss.
Yes.
So,
So that was a good addition from your end on the content part,
mm-hmm,
because content is usually what attracts the audiences as well, whether it is attendees or eventually play.
mm-hmm,
Not, I don't know how many people realize it, but it plays a big role when the eventual sale also happens, because you are taking a thought leadership point of view, and if you are someone who knows your shit, sorry for the
mm-hmm,
word, but someone who knows knows what you're doing, that is when people are willing to make that handshake for you. So that
yes,
was a very lovely point that you made, and that moves me
mm-hmm,
to one part of the events planning or events marketing that is completely neglected uh, in a lot of SaaS firms, which is post event. So what happens usually, and this is again my personal observation, do not quote me anywhere, is
mm-hmm,
there is a lot of work that goes into getting the event organized, pre-event, booking XYZ things, making sure that everything is in place and there. Once that ends, a lot of times the legs are up that this is done, and
mm-hmm,
now let's move on to our next project. And however, it is one of the things that you should not do, for the lack of any other words. That it is, once you've activated an account, as you said, that activation needs to have a follow through process. So is there something that you guys do? Is there something that you suggest on the post event bit? What do you guys do?
So first of all, I don't think we are there yet in which we have the perfect post-event playbook, right?
Hmm.
And because of the same reason, like you need a personal day. Once you're going somewhere, you need like 2 days to be there and then come back to work. And there's another project with tight deadline, things like that, which you mentioned, right? But other than that, obviously, what we have figured out and which is working, we don't let the conversations die out for already activated one, right?
Hmm.
That is there, that is already sorted. How we do that? First thing, we usually create like a personal group, first of all, over an informal channel like a WhatsApp, right, for
Hmm.
logistic purpose. Then we utilize that group to, you know, get everyone together, introduce themselves, each other, warm up the room for like an event group. Then post
Hmm.
an event, we move those conversation or those people, we ask them to join our bigger events group, that is a community, right?
Yes.
There, we don't even need to intervene. These people keep on asking their, then
Exactly.
discussing among themselves, asking each other questions, asking polls, setting up calls even, right? So basically, the recall remains, right? Other than that, obviously, once you're traveling from India or traveling for somewhere or traveling to somewhere, so we'll give them branded, like swag bags and
Hmm.
gifts, right? In which the recall is there, right? So these people will never ghost you. That is what we figured out. So any event attendee will never ghost you, right? And that's the most event can bring, right? So now it is up to the person responsible for the sale or for the cross sell or for the upsell to actually make the most of it, right? And if let's suppose they start ghosting this person, then the at event person who have created that,
Hmm.
um, cross that barrier will get in,
Yes.
and like just get them to gel up again. For
Hmm.
any post event stuff, what we are still figuring out is something like doing a FOMO campaign for anybody who sort of wanted to join but was not able
Okay.
to join, right?
Hmm.
What we have also observed, once we started doing these photo FOMO campaigns, these people have said yes for our future events,
Hmm.
right? They did not reply or get activated on FOMO campaigns or things like that.
Hmm.
But for future events, now they have a recall that these people keep on doing great events. They do have good
Hmm.
reviews. People like which I know, like the person that I know attended that event, and they had a great time. I saw that as a video testimonial,
Hmm.
right? So social proof gets knocked into their head, and next time it is easier to get a conversion there. The conversion rate keeps on increasing due to FOMO campaigns. I have not seen any activation from FOMO campaigns or
Hmm.
from our blog, post event content blog that we do, but it's in tools to engage the current activation.
Yes. And this is a question that just came into my head. So, what is the
Mhm,
coolest swag that you've seen at an event? It could be yours, it could be anyone else's.
mhm,
Because I keep getting being asked what should we do for swag? Because
mhm,
your caps, your books, your water bottles, these have become a little dated, and I am not a fan
mhm.
personally also. So, what is the coolest thing that you've seen?
So, personally, I'm still figuring this out as well. This is also a problem for me, right? The thing that we use, right? Obviously, stickers is something we figured out works.
Hmm.
Funny stickers and things like that. What I used to do when we used to not think before the event. I used to just go into the market, get to know, like that area's specialty, something like Aam Papad for Delhi, right?
Oh, nice.
And put that in the swag bag just to munch during the event, and
Hmm.
put like a fridge magnet, like with branding,
Hmm.
let's say. So that is there. What people usually give us a good thumbs up on, we usually keep laptop stands with our
Hmm.
branding, obviously, and people usually do use that, or otherwise they give away in their office only, and it's like the perfect placement. The coolest thing I've seen as of now, to be honest, is a magazine, right? This
Okay.
magazine was like a comic book, right? and it
Okay.
told the story about like basically the hero was the company, right? The
Hmm.
pain point was the problem, and it was so engaging, so well written, so well drawn,
Nice.
and that was the best thing, like best way to sell your feature. I know I'll not watch a video, I'll not,
Hmm.
go through your pamphlet, but that comic was so engaging, like just 8 to 10 pages long, but great story and everything. I got that, like my director got that from Gamescom. So
Oh, very
that
nice.
was there. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. So yours is cooler, but something that I found cool, not cool, cool is the
Mm-hmm.
wrong word, but different was socks. So they were branded.
Mm-hmm.
Branding was a little on the bottom side, so it is not visible. But those were
Mm-hmm.
socks, and that is how they've branded their organization also. That our swag is socks. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt it is different. It has
Mm-hmm.
created a differentiation in the minds of people who are attending the event that
Mm-hmm.
these these orange socks are what are cool or sexy. So that was different. I won't say cool,
Mm-hmm.
but it caught my
Mm-hmm.
attention. I think that is what swag has to do eventually
Yeah.
to
So
catch
in
attention.
recent campaign, we actually decided not to go ahead with socks, although we have ordered
Ah,
them, right? Because they were not like around the Christmas or was not making
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
But I
of course.
understand taking those calls makes you register in everyone's mind as well. We were
Correct,
not
correct.
like able to take that call to be unique, right?
Yes.
So
Correct, correct.
that's
So that
there.
is the
Yeah.
role of swag. I keep telling people that you have to, people will remember you. Otherwise,
Yes.
everyone gives a water bottle. That is how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, moving to the last portion of this podcast, Tanmay. I know you
Mhm.
touched upon it a little bit through the course of the episode, but how do you actually calculate ROI on events? Is there anything specific that you do, or bits and pieces come together to eventually form ROI? What's your take on that?
So basically, I keep a track of every sales cycle and the life cycle stage it crosses, right? And basically, for the events team itself, we don't have ROI targets, right? We have attendee targets so that our agenda is clear. But as a function head, I do have ROI targets. And for me, the goal is clear, lifetime value would be greater, but I don't want to calculate on basis of that because it's not something very like I can get away with a lot of things, right? Not having a
Yes.
great event and still saying that it
Hmm.
was a great ROI. I'll have like a
Hmm.
6 month period. I'll want, for, according to my sales cycle, six
Hmm.
months period to give an ROI for any particular event, and in those 6 months, any person that actually brought money on the table, like became scale to a customer, let's say, right,
Hmm.
and pass the testing phase or something like that, I keeps on adding that to the list. So currently I've seen that if you do a great event and you have a great product and you have a great team, right, so ROI would not be a problem. Just focus on your part of this. That's an event, right? So if you are not confident on your product, if you're not confident on your team, first create that and then do events. Otherwise it's a waste of money, because there'll be things in ROI that is not under your control, right? If let's suppose even sales do a good job and now the customer is in testing stage, if your product is actually not good, service is not good, then also no ROI would be there, right? So for it to work, great product, great sales team, and like teams mainly involved in actually the sales cycle, and then a great event. But at the same time, I'll also say the great sales team and um, having a team which take care of your event attendees can be made by you, can be influenced by any event marketer, right? But a product probably cannot be, other than a feedback. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Completely hear
So
you. And
does that
and
answer
to
anything, or was that vague?
100%, 100%. See, the problem with event ROI is it is always cloudy,
Mm-hmm.
because most people and most founders especially who've raised money, who have investors to answer to, uh, they have this feeling that if today an event is done, in the next quarter there should be three sales that are coming out of it. That is how
Mm-hmm.
it is,
Yeah.
and therefore finding a mechanism of the event ROI calculation is little tricky, which is why I loved one statement that you gave. Events are for activation and not for
Mm-hmm.
conversion. And if you give those targets to your events teams, and especially
Mm-hmm.
the team, let's say team under you, if you have activation targets and you
Mm-hmm.
manage to cross them or meet them, that is a job well done. That again, that is my opinion from whatever little experience I have. But yeah, that is how I try and track event ROI. Yes, questions are asked in terms of dollars, but
Mm-hmm.
you can then extrapolate it into dollars and say that this is the pipeline. So that is
Mm-hmm.
my side of doing it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's right. It's right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So okay,
right according to my experience.
perfect. So I have a validation
Yeah,
then.
yeah. So
Awesome.
just want to add one thing. So what
Yeah.
we can do, as an organization, like what you can do as an organization or anyone can do. So basically, if the numbers are, if let's suppose you are meeting 25% conversion, from your event attendees, then that's the best event will bring. Like that's towards an higher end, right? Obviously, if you are overperforming, nothing like that. Great kudos to you. So even if after that it is not as much monthly ROI from them is not as much as your event spend, right? So then you need to target better, where target in a more niche where you can bring in more ROI from same set of people, same number of people, right? So there's an optimization to it according to your ROI, but your basically per sale percentage and dollar value upon your expense for the kind of event that you have. But if it is not meeting the 25% monthly rate for you, like then you need to actually increase the niche that it is going
Hmm.
into. So that's it.
Which is a,
The increase
which
the
is a fair
TAM
call.
basically. Yeah,
Yeah, which
increase
is a
the
fair call.
TAM. Yeah, yeah. So
Which is
that's
a
it.
fair call. Yes. And since we are already talking TAM, SAM, etc.,
Mm-hmm.
I'll move it up a level and
Mm-hmm.
ask you, what if you were the CMO, or let's say the demand
Mm-hmm.
gen head at the organization,
Mm-hmm.
who do you think should be your
Mm-hmm.
first hire? This is more a question to Tanmay rather than Tanmay the event lead. It is more Tanmay the person. Who should be the first hire in the demand gen team?
Mm-hmm. Got it. Mm. So I guess Markov's. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you for saying that.
So.
Because I keep stressing to some of my clients as well that this is a very important neglected function called marketing ops.
Mm-hmm.
But because it is
Mm-hmm.
such a boring function, no one wants to spend time on it. But go on, complete your answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so same as a Markov's, someone who has taken Markov's and someone who has understood Markov's, I understand that any marketing team needs an architecture because things can be built internally, can be outsourced, right? And both can work for you, right? So having a Markov's guy understand where you need to focus on from a marketing standpoint and then work accordingly, build up great architecture, would create better result. After Markov, the close second will be like a mark, like basically digital campaigns guy, let's say, you know. So I
Yes,
think
correct.
at any level, even if you are outsourcing, you'll have to run campaigns once you're in marketing, be it digital campaigns, be it mail campaigns mainly. Then I guess you
Hmm.
can focus upon different angles like blog per se, and things like social proof or social media, and then you can focus on ABM, you can diversify, right? And you can sublet these things to outside organizations as well. But
Hmm.
a Markov's guy as well as like an internal campaign manager is something that is a requirement for any marketing team.
Completely hear
Yeah.
you. Completely back that answer also. Let's put
Thank
it
you.
in bold in
Thank
this
you.
podcast description. I will put it in bold. That's my
Sure,
commitment
sure,
to you.
sure.
Okay, to the last question on the podcast, Tanmay, and you've been very
Mhm,
kind to devote time here.
mhm.
And this is me being cheeky. So, what is your one controversial opinion about B2B demand generation or B2B marketing, whichever way you want to put it? So, one controversial opinion.
Okay. It might be controversial to you, but I think like I think affiliate programs does not work, right? There is no, yeah, and same goes for, I guess, normal generic PPC campaigns, right? So if you are spending money anywhere which is very D2C oriented, it will not work at all, and even the platform would not work at all, right? You need to find your social media. So it's like social media, like Instagram is not for B2B, right? Obviously Reddit might be your social media, or Twitter might be yours, I don't know, or it might be a WhatsApp community or a LinkedIn group, I don't know, right? What your community, what your prospect is there. But spend money where your market is, not where everyone is spending.
Where
Right?
your market, where your prospect spends time. Again,
Yes,
don't go
exactly.
after the shiny thing. Let-
Yeah.
Let's do Clubhouse. I want.
Yeah. So even Clubhouse makes sense, made
Yeah.
sense for us. We started a channel there as well,
Oh,
tried.
you did?
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Didn't do well, or
Uh,
Clubhouse didn't do
demanded
well
a lot of
eventually?
time. Yeah,
Yes,
demanded
yes,
a lot
yes.
of time, right? So basically,
Yeah.
you were just flowing in and out of conversations,
Yes.
and they were happening at odd times and things like that.
Correct. 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 Awesome. So I think I've got enough, and I hope whoever listens to this has also got enough. Thank you, Tanmay, for doing this. There is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot that goes into events, and there is a lot that people on the outside don't realize. Going into the events, making sure that everything is precise, pinpoint, pre-event, on-event, post-event, and you've shed enough light on that. Thanks again for doing this. Thank you for coming over, and hopefully we'll have you again in another
Mm-hmm.
capacity in a few shows from now. Thank you and
Mm-hmm.
all the best. And that's it from Heads and Tails.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Sid, for having me. It was a great experience for me as well. I've been a part of few podcasts now, but at the same time, this has been very easy for me and very, focused on my topic rather than like a broader topic. So thanks for asking
That,
all the right questions.
that- I should have made it tougher if it is easy. Is it?
Eh,
All right. All
yeah,
right, all right.
you
No,
could
I'm
have.
just pulling a leg. I am just pulling a leg. But thank you again for
Yeah.
doing this. It was a pleasure
Mhm.
having you, Tanmay.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's it for this episode on Ads and Tails. For more B2B marketing stories, insights, strategies, tactics, and views, keep listening to Ads and Tails. You can also check out the Ads and Tails newsletter to help you crack the code for B2B marketing. And if you need any help in solving any of your B2B marketing problems, check out admomenta.com. This is your host Sid signing off. This is Ads and Tails.